Hello, everyone, and welcome to UBS Trending. I'm Anthony Pastore. In the last 2 years, the world experienced a series of unprecedented events. No matter your individual viewpoint, however, we can all agree that everything around us truly needed reevaluation. And according to our latest Own Your Worth research, for many women, it stirred a desire to focus on a greater sense of purpose. So let's dig into that new research now with my colleague, Carrie Shuffman. Carrie, always nice to have you here on UBS Trending, and I know we've got a lot to talk about today with the new Own Your Worth research, so thanks for being here.
Thanks so much, Anthony, for having me on the show again.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie. Always good to have you. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the background. What is the background for this latest Own Your Worth report?
Sure. Well, again, Anthony, thanks so much for having me on the show. It's always great to be on talking about Own Your Worth and the women's segment work that we're doing. And so for this latest Own Your Worth report that we just published earlier this May, titled Women on Purpose, Women, Money, and the Pursuit of More Intentional Lives, we really wanted to build off of the last 5 years of research that UBS and the women's segment has done, focused on women and financial well-being, and really focused on trying to understand the major trends that impact women in their financial lives, how women do, or in some cases do not engage when it comes to the long-term financial decisions and investing decisions that impact them and their futures, and why and how these dynamics exist. And our ultimate goal is really to bring more women to the money table, as we say, and to support women's financial participation. So for this latest report that we just published, we really wanted to better understand not only the inextricable link between financial well-being and overall well-being, but also the clear connection between financial engagement and the ability to lead a more purposeful, impactful life, whatever your purpose in life may be. And you touched on it, Anthony, but we really wanted to better understand with the backdrop of, for lack of a better term, the extreme turbulence of the last few years with the COVID-19 pandemic, with geopolitical and economic uncertainty, social activism. How have these events made all investors, but particularly women, reassess what's most important to them? And we wanted to see if these events had been a catalyst for reevaluation among women to drive a greater commitment to lead more intentional and purposeful lives and make decisions that align more closely with their values.
Terrific, Carrie. That's great to give us that bit of background. So let me ask you, really now, was the hypothesis correct? What were some of the key findings you saw once you looked at the research?
Sure, Anthony. Well, our hypothesis ended up bearing out in this latest research, and we also learned a lot more even than we set out to uncover. And we ultimately found that the large majority of women did say that the last few years were a catalyst for reassessing what's most important to them and are more committed than ever before to making a positive impact. In fact, the large majority of women, almost 9 in 10 women, see money as a tool to affect positive change, and they're making deliberate choices to actually have an impact. So turning that intent into real action to affect change, whether it's in how they wield their financial clout in terms of charitable giving or aligning investing with values through sustainable or ESG investing, and how they spend their valuable time, whether that's volunteering or being a part of philanthropic organizations or being leaders in their communities, or in how they choose to leverage their considerable purchasing power to align with their values, and even in how women choose to earn money through the career decisions that they're making. And it's also worth highlighting a key finding of this latest report is that, building off of the last 5 years of Own Your Worth research, where we've heard from both women and men that women's financial participation is critical to us as a society achieving gender equality, we also heard in this latest research that women recognize the power of financial engagement, with over 90% of women saying that financial engagement can help them actually have greater impact. And so our goal at UBS is to help women do just that through these Own Your Worth efforts.
Right. Interestingly, when I looked at the Own Your Worth report, Carrie, I was taking a look at one of the pages that talked about the generational differences between women who are millennials or Gen Xers or boomers. And there really was a lot of significant difference, particularly between the millennials and the boomers. Although I got to give it up for my Gen Xers. I mean, they kind of followed sort of closely behind the millennials, but millennials really drove the charge when it came to how they're thinking about going forward following the pandemic. Maybe you could speak to some of those differences for us.
Sure. Yeah, I think the generational differences that we uncovered in this research were really interesting, both in terms of the different causes that different generations support, as well as sort of how women have been affected in terms of that desire to have an impact and that commitment to making an impact going forward. So, in terms of the causes, we heard from women across all generations that they really share an interest in a variety of causes in terms of how they choose to uplift the topics and causes most important to them. But we did see some of the greatest differences between millennials and baby boomers on some of these, with Gen X, for the most part, falling somewhere in the middle in terms of interest in each cause. So, for example, millennial women were much more focused on addressing inequality and supporting social justice, whereas among baby boomer women, we heard that they were more likely to focus on helping religious organizations and fighting poverty. And then across the board with millennial women, Gen X women, and baby boomer women, we saw that topics like education and the environment really resonated equally across all generations. And then, in terms of, I think, Anthony, your specific question, in terms of some of the broader generational differences in the key findings of the report, we did see in this latest research that the pandemic really prompted more millennial women in particular to want to make a difference. So millennial women are more committed than ever before. And also they say they're more committed than Gen X or baby boomer women because of the last few years to really using their financial resources to change the world for the better. And they're actually doing so as well, whether it's ensuring their investments align with their values, making purchases that align with their values, or even finding more meaningful work over the last few years and making career changes to align with their values.
Yeah, it's incredible, and for the millennials who are participated in your survey and you looked at that research, what they're doing for themselves and for their families is nothing short of just incredible to see what they're doing. Something else, by the way, Karen, I have to give kudos to you and anybody who's worked with you over the last couple of years since you launched the women's segment and Own Your Worth research. You're starting to see women who are now leading in financial decisions, and they're paving the way for other women to lead purpose-driven lives, which, by the way, I have to believe in large part was due to a lot of what the work that you've been doing. So I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about that for us, because this is the step in the direction that you've wanted to achieve.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great point to make in terms of what we're seeing among women who lead in financial decisions, paving the way, as you mentioned. One of the things that we've looked at over the last 5 years is the fact that among women in couples, and in particular among women in heterosexual couples, the rate of deferral on long-term financial decisions and investing decisions has hovered stubbornly right above 50%. So a little over 1 in 2 married women tell us that they are not actively involved in the long-term financial decisions or investing decisions in their households. And yet in this latest report, we did see that there has been an increase in the number of women who are leading on making these financial decisions. And not only are they leading in making the financial decisions in their household, they're also, as you said, Anthony, paving the way in terms of finding a variety of strategic ways to make a positive impact on the world, even beyond charitable giving and donating, whether it's pursuing ESG investments, venture capital, venture philanthropy, starting foundations, or being actively involved in nonprofit organizations in their own communities or nationally, or even using strategic giving vehicles like donor advised funds. So it's great to take a cue from these women who are leading in both owning their seat at the money table while also fulfilling their life's purpose and making a positive difference. And, I'd also add, Anthony, that what was one thing that was really interesting about this latest research is that in addition to, we really, I would say we see these purpose-driven wealth decisions as a strong entry point toward greater overall financial engagement for all women, whether you're married, whether you're single, regardless of your generation or age or life or financial situation. And in fact, even among the half of married women, as I just mentioned, who said that they deferred those longer-term financial decisions and investing decisions, many were actively involved in the charitable giving decisions in their households, even saying that not only did they share equally, but they took the lead in making those decisions. So we see this as a great place to start in terms of deeper discussions and broader opportunities to really drive greater financial engagement and bring more women to the financial table.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And on the slide we just had on the screen a couple minutes ago, which directly comes out of the Own Your Worth report, it was fascinating to see that there were fewer women who are deferring these financial decisions to their spouses or partners. And I know that's, again, something that you've been talking about for such a long time here with Own Your Worth. And I also found it to be so moving that women who are leading are really taking the charge in ESG investments and philanthropy, like you said. So it's really fascinating. And a lot of congratulations go to you and everyone who's been involved in Own Your Worth since launching it at UBS. So thanks, Carrie.
Team effort.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been incredible. So as we're wrapping up, I wanted to ask you, for other people who might be moved by these findings, as I was when I read them, what can they do? What should they do? If they are feeling like, you know what, I really appreciate what I saw here. What's the next thing for that person?
Yeah, I mean, I would encourage everyone to read the latest Own Your Worth report, Women on Purpose, which you can find at ubs.com/women. And we also have a breadth of supporting content available on a variety of topics related to women's financial well-being and purpose on that website, as well as supporting resources from some of our incredible partners across UBS with capabilities from our Family Advisory and Philanthropy Services team, our UBS Optimist Foundation focused on crisis relief and the protection, education, and health of children, our sustainable investing and newly launched inclusive investing solutions team, and more. And I'd also encourage everyone tuning in today to have a conversation with your UBS financial advisor or begin the discussions with an advisor if you don't already have one around how you really translate your interest or intent in living a life of greater purpose into action and the steps that you can take to do just that, to align your investments with your values, to think about how you spend your time, how you spend your capital, all in pursuit of making an impact. And again, I would just reiterate, in the same way, Anthony, I've been on the show to talk about, you don't have to become an expert all at once in financial matters. You can also start small in terms of having an impact, and every small act really, will create ripple effects and ultimately until it becomes a tidal wave and we see a fundamental shift taking place, really led by women who are eager to pave the way.
Well, I will definitely toast to that, Carrie. Hear, hear. And thanks for that information. I think what you shared with us today, again, it only scratches the surface. The report itself is absolutely beautiful. There's a lot more in there. So if you are interested, as Carrie said, take a look at the website, ubs.com/women. Carrie and her team are always busy making sure that they have the latest research available to you, to us, and keep driving that message about owning your worth. So, Carrie, thank you. Always a pleasure. Please come back soon and see us.
Thanks so much, Anthony.
Great. Thanks, Carrie. Again, check out the website, ubs.com/women. More insights and information available for you on Own Your Worth and at UBS and everything that Carrie and her team are working on. And make sure to follow us on social media. Lots more information there as well. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And you can check out all of our past UBS Trending episodes on demand on our website and the UBS YouTube channel. And as always, if you have questions about your portfolio or how any of this research might impact you, make sure to speak with a financial advisor. Until next time, I'm Anthony Pastore. We hope you have a fantastic day, and remember to keep your eyes on what's trending. Thanks, everybody.